Warning, explicit content. Blood, guts, swearing, lots of bad words, adult themes. No nudity, though. Lots of violence. Did I say violence? Viewer's discretion is advised. Welcome back, and I hope you guys are ready for another exciting episode of Pathfinders Wrath of the Righteous. Of course, we're going to be screaming, yelling at the dice roller, and just generally being like, "Argh!" But, you know, it's all in good fun. So let's enjoy the story. Let's kill some monsters, do some dungeons, and see what comes next. So let's go and hop into it. I'm glad you got caught up with me. Welcome back. So since we left, I decided instead of rushing out, we need to talk to the elf. Plus, we sold a few things. We got a ring equipped that we got, which now is permanent around me. So I put it on the main character for now. But we're going to talk to the elf. We have a lot of elven notes, including the original ones he wanted since I missed him in the camp, since he's only there for a day. Plus, we have items for him to look over. So this is going to be a lot of talking. So if you are uninterested in all of what the elf has to say, I apologize. But we're going to go through this together. So let's have fun and see what this guy can tell us. The blind elf whispers something under his breath. Hearing your steps, he turns to you slowly. Greetings, Garou. Have you brought me a new story? Let's have him look at the stuff I'm carrying. The storyteller nods politely. Let me touch them, and I'll tell you what I can see. A fragment of a ring appears in the old man's hand. What a powerful item. This ring was created by an inquisitive and free mind. As a rule, such people either become geniuses and creators of a new era, or meet tragic ends. What was the fate of the creator of this object? We can find out together. Get me 4 vials of magic essence and 2 bars of cold iron, and I will reforge this ring. The storyteller's fingers run over a piece of an old cloak. I sense power. This item belonged to someone truly powerful. It was created as a gift. It's so hazy. I would like to learn this story, but it would take much to revive such a mighty relic. If you can get me 5 vials of magic essence, 2 bars of cold iron, 2 vials of demon blood, and 3 skins of magical creatures, I will try to restore it. That's a lot of stuff. So we can do the broken buckle. So let's restore the broken buckle. Ooh, Covenant of the Inheritor. The elf cautiously uncorks the vials and begins to work his enchantments. The essence evaporates, turning into light that streams onto the buckle. The light thickens, becoming gold. The Covenant of the Inheritor. That's the name of this relic. This buckle once adorned the belt of a glorious knight from Mendev. It is the embodiment of a promise made to a young girl by a powerful deity. A great promise that has changed much in the world. When you touch the restored relic, a strange vision comes to you. It's as if you see the events that happened in the past. A burning sensation spreads across your chest from the very spot where your mysterious wound sometimes opens. What is this? The influence of the storyteller spells? Or is it something else? I had a vision. The old elf frowns. How strange. You are a remarkable mortal. No one has ever shared my visions before. What do you think caused it? Perhaps these things have something to do with your destiny, or the fate of someone related to you. I do not have the answer, only advice. Seek out such relics, look for what links them all, and you will know the truth. Alright, well let's do the ring next. We can't do this one, obviously, because I don't have the pieces of animal. I have some of the other stuff, though. The storyteller sets the ring fragment and the bars of metal in his open palm. He clenches his fist, crumpling the metal like paper, and pours the essence from the vials over it. You feel terrible heat rising from the elf's hand, and when he opens his fingers, you see a beautiful ring. A remarkable object, this. It was created by a talented spellcaster, and is able to summon beings from other planes, as if boundaries set by Pharasma do not exist for it. It is a powerful and dangerous item, but it was created by an honorable person. That is probably why it's not used at the crucial hour. There is quite sadness in the storyteller's voice. Okay, well, more important things to do. I got the pages you were looking for from the Great Garrison. The storyteller carefully takes the pages from your hands. His finger touch the ancient letters greedily, examining them lightly. His fingers touch the ancient letters gently, examining them lightly, following their lines. I see. Myself. Young. Energetic. Able to see. Oh gods, have I found the key to my past? Finally, I'll find out what my own mind has been hiding from me. The elf's expression becomes withdrawn. The wrinkles on his face soften. Thank you, Garou. And please, follow me to my story. Let us embark on this journey together. The storyteller inhales sharply, a few times, and begins the story. They are leaving. The people of Kyonin faced the coming Earthfall and admitted that they were incapable of handling this disaster. Proud rulers, artful crafters, brave warriors, wise mages, and skilled healers, all of them, hurried to the gates of Sovereign. Looking around fearfully, a clean, safe world is waiting for them there. My people decided not to fight for Galarian. I am ashamed. And I am sorry for them. Their hearts wavered in the face of this catastrophe, but my will is strong. I am staying. My kinfolk are looking at me angrily. How dare I diminish their decisions with my recklessness? My choices make them cowards, traitors of their own home. One of them, my former mentor, looks at me bitterly. He hands me a neat notebook with a tree bark cover. In case you change your mind. With a heavy sigh, he returns to the line of those departing. Forgive me, brothers and sisters. I watched the gate of Sovereign Stone close, separating me from them. It's time for me to go to. I open my master's notebook. These are his notes about traveling between worlds. In case you change your mind, he hopes the burden I shouldered voluntarily will be too much. I will lose heart and find my way to Sovereign. That will never happen. My mouth set stubbornly. I tear my master's notebook to pieces. I use my forced pride as a shield against my fear of what is to come. Why did the elves decide to flee, not fight? The storyteller's lips purse with disdain. They are afraid to lose what they have. They were rulers, long-lived and powerful. They valued their lives and sunshine too much to enter the fight with the aftermath of Earthfall. So Earthfall, if you are unfamiliar, is a cataclysmic event in which shower of meteorites impacted Galarian in 5293. That's actually negative in negative 5293, since the year we're in now is like 50 or 40. I think we're in 50 something. 5,000 something positive at this point. Ruin, it got rid of Thassalon and Aslan. If you don't know the actual history, I would highly suggest, if you're interested, check out the Second Darkness campaign. It actually goes into what happened and how everything came about, what caused it. If you don't want to, you can go and look it up on the wiki as to what caused it. It also explains it there, but the history for Pathfinder and Galarian is super, super rich. And there's so many different empires and things pulling on each other. It's pretty crazy. But continuing on. Your mentor is a mage. Then you must be one too, yes? Yes, I am an archmage, and this title is well deserved. I have acquired delicate mastery and succeeded in many areas of magic, but curiosity has always pushed me toward new knowledge since the first day of my apprenticeship. What is the Sovereign Stone? A magnificent crystal bent into an arch by a mighty hand of an ancient divine creator. Our great gate to other worlds. It breathes power. It dreams of eternity. Also, side note, before Earthfall, the Elven Empires, the Thessalonian Empire, and the Islanian Empire actually had the ability to travel the stars. Thessalonian Empire actually had technology. They were incredibly powerful empires that blended magic and technology together and whatnot. Again, a lot of this information is on the wiki. It ties into another setting that Paizo made called Starfinder, which is also tied into the fate of all this stuff as well, which has multiple fantastic settings. And again, sorry about that. Back to the story. Why are you angry at your fellow elves? I spent many hundreds of years in Kyonin. I've always admired the way my kinfolk cared for the forest that was our home, but the rest of the world seemed to mean nothing to them. But I love Galarian. All its places, all the forms it manifests in. I traveled widely and then came home and I told my kinfolk about my travels, but they weren't interested. They only cared about Kyonin. Their lack of desire to hear about the wider world makes me sad and angry. Well, what happened next? Earthfall happened at night. I'm standing on the top of my tower, many miles to the north of Kyonin, and I see a blaze far to the south. I hear a horrendous rumble. The air is groaning, giving way to a huge rock rushing down on my world, and then a blow. Vibration that penetrates everything, reaching down into the bowels of Galarian and up to the vaults of the sky. Crunching bones and blood from burst vessels filling my eyes with darkness. Drowning in timelessness along with countless denizens of Galarian. Never before have we been so united in our feelings. When I come round, the darkness remains. My first terrible thought, I'm blind. But no, little by little, I begin to see the stone wall. I am alive, but why is it so dark? The answer is quick. The smell of ash everywhere. The great burnt sacrifice filled the air with incinerated particles of what was recently the continent of Aslant. Great clouds of ash covered the sky, cutting us off from the sun and the moon, dooming us to dusk and at day and complete darkness at night. My heart sinks with fear. Treacherous thoughts fill my mind. Why did I stay? Why didn't I run like everyone else when I had the chance? I clench my teeth and stand up to watch Earthfall, proudly, like the last Archmage of Kyonin should. Will my world really perish like this? Will I perish? No, that will never happen. I am still alive and I can fight Earthfall and the darkness, not run from it in a blind panic. Like my kinfolk and my cowardly teacher, but what can I do? I will not stop this disaster. I will hardly be able to save empires from their destruction. What can I do? I am but one Archmage, powerful and weak at the same time. What is Earthfall? A disaster of untold proportions. An unborn planet dropped on Galarian by blind fate or someone's evil will. A blow so strong that the continent of Aslant is destroyed within moments, turned to ashes, wiped off the face of Galarian. In this burnt sacrifice, clouds of ash and dust are born, stealing our sun. Without the warmth of our star, the air cools, the soil is barren, dark creatures crawl out of their lairs to rule, and the most frightening thing, without the sun, all hope dies in the heart. This is the age of darkness. So this is a 1,000-year period in which the sun's light was blocked by ash and knocked into the atmosphere by the meteoric impacts of Earthfall. It began with a rain of meteorites summoned from the sky by powerful magic in minus 5293, and lasted until the sunlight had been restored roughly a millennium later. During the Age of Darkness, all major civilizations across Galarian were destroyed, ushering in a time of anarchy and destruction. What was that tower you mentioned? It's my retreat in the north of Kyonin, my home away from home, my observatory. From its top, I watched the stars, and when they were correctly aligned, the other worlds as well. Here in the northern wasteland, I found that the highest mountain and built a tower on top of it. And on clear days, I could see the mist over the lake of mists and veils in the east. That's how high I was. What are you going to do next? I don't know. I need to think. My opponent, Earthfall, is much stronger than me. Without noticing, the storyteller raises his voice to a shout. It is merciless. It is not simply destroying life. It does not simply destroy life. It kills an era, ending the greatness of Galarian civilizations. They sink into oblivion, be forgotten as if they never existed. I need to think. The elf suddenly winces and is silent for a few moments as he calms his heavy breathing. Forgive me. I shouldn't have raised my voice. This story was much harder than many before it, most likely because I played the main role in it. It is so strange to see myself. I feel the emotions tearing me up inside, those that I felt a long time ago, and do not remember them. It's like I split. I became both the storyteller and the main character. Too bad the story ended at that moment. Please, if you find other pages covered in ancient elven writings on your travels, bring them to me. I might be able to shed some light on my past, and we will find out how my story ended, perhaps even why I forgot. Thank you for your stories. Thank you for helping me remember them. Hand over the bloodstained page. I found it in the molten scar. The storyteller cringes and puts his hand on the bloodstained page. His face contorts into a painful grimace. His voice is trembling with terror. No! He's here again! That terrible, grating voice! The horrific semblance of a face! The monstrous appearance! Myriad of insects forming a body with 2 arms, 2 legs. He touches me and the disgusting creatures attack my flesh, covering me. They're eating me. They are hungry and will devour everything except my eyes and tongue, so that I can see this damn page, so that I can translate the runes written in the ancient, long-forgotten elven language. And I translate. It hurts so much. I tried to lie to him. I changed the translation, but he saw through my lie. He got angry. Now I'm not lying. I'm not. He takes one of the insects from my face and squishes it with his fingers over an inkwell. Then he dips the quill in it and writes with my blood right over the runes. And I continue to dictate. Callistria, when will this be over? Let me die. Xanther, let me die. The storyteller jerks back his hand, terrified. Oh gods, such horrible torture. This poor man was tortured to decrypt my notes. He was so tormented that his suffering became thick like molasses. My mind is drowning in it. My own memories are hidden by these images of horror. I can try to get through them, but I will need your help. Tell me everything you've seen and heard. I will try to lean on your words to use them as a light in the darkness of my forgotten past. The storyteller takes the bloodstained page carefully, as though handling a dangerous insect. I see a magic shape. There is a force pulsating in the center. You've seen the ritual. Tell me, what was its central point, the magic knot? A dead man. They killed a crusader and conducted the ritual over his corpse. The storyteller frowns. A dead man? I don't understand. I feel something else. A life. A living soul in the eye of the whirlwind. I don't understand how one ritual can tie up the energies of death and the abyss. Their currents in the world's ephemeria are contradirectional. The storyteller sighs weakly. Forgive me, Commander. I cannot get any further. Everything is vague and unclear, and the screams of the poor lad keep ringing in my ears. Let's talk about the encounter in the dragon's lair. I'm sure you do. You're wondering how I ended up there and why I wasn't killed, am I right? Why did you go to the tower? I've been looking for a certain tower for several years now, and in that place, I had a strange feeling of recognition. It seems that the tower once belonged to me a long time ago. Knowing my habits, I assumed that some records or other items that could answer the questions about my past may have remained in my home. Unfortunately, I realized too late that the tower is now the lair of a monster. How come the dragon didn't eat you? Despite their beastly tempers, dragons are clever creatures, but their way of life does not lend itself to civilized conversation, which is why they do sometimes enjoy a good chat, and, even more, a good story. That was what saved me. I had to share a few of my stories with the dragon, hoping to win her over, or at least distract her. Did you find anything of value in the tower? The storyteller nods politely. Yes, thanks to you. I bit my tongue. Yes, thanks to you. The dragon didn't have time to burn everything. I found the memories of my previous life, which I had forgotten long ago. Well, that's cool. Once again, please accept my gratitude for the miraculous rescue. I hope I never again have cause to meet a creature as voracious as that dragon. Alright, I found a page that might interest you. Yes, you are right. Another piece of evidence from the past I have forgotten. The old elf's expression becomes withdrawn. Thank you. If you find more pages. Yes, you are right. Another piece of evidence. If you find more pages. The story clenches the pages you brought. His voice becomes a bit younger and more energetic. My hand touches the stone wall. The cold pierces my palm like teeth of a hungry dog sinking into a piece of meat. I don't take my hand away. I let the stone enjoy my warmth in return for its service. It accepts my caress and my unasked question. The one it's been asking thousands upon thousands of times. Where should I go next? Behind me I hear the loud stomping of minotaurs that guard this god-forsaken place. I tricked and outwitted them, leaving only a trace of my presence. There is darkness lurking up ahead, honing its swords, claws, and teeth, and the hope that a rare traveler visits its lair. But today, it will get no one. This labyrinth is alive. Its red-veined stone walls remember the... Oh my goodness. Starting over. This labyrinth is alive. Its red-veined stone walls resemble the guts of a huge creature. If you keep still and listen closely, you can hear it breathe in the wind that sweeps through this place. Where do I go from here? Forward. To the place whence the wind carried a faint chuckle. Whence comes the faint smell of ash. Whence a few ages ago, Demon Lord Baphomet began his great escape. Baphomet? Are you inside his labyrinth? Yes, I'm traveling through the Ivory Labyrinth. This is not the most pleasant of my journeys, but it is necessary to reach my goal. How are you able to evade all the dangers of the Ivory Labyrinth? The storyteller raises his chin proudly. Have you forgotten who you're speaking to? I am the last Archmage of Kyonin. I have been to many dangerous places, and this is just one of many. It won't be the last. What do you need from the Ivory Labyrinth? An answer to a question, a key to a secret, knowledge that can save many lives. A sliver of a smile appears on the storyteller's lips. My kinfolk were weaklings and cowards. They ran from danger, but one stood up to my enemy, and Baphomet will give me the weapon to win. Please continue. For several years, I thought about how to defeat Earthfall. My enemy has no flesh and is impossible to kill. It blazes through everything in its path. It doesn't enslave but destroys life itself. And I have found the answer. I know how to save my world. Earthfall came to destroy Golarion. Its strike was brutal, and my world barely withstood it. But what if Earthfall was resisted not by one world, but by several worlds at once? What if Heaven or Elysium come to help the dying Golarion? If I manage to merge my world with another one, meld them together, the power of the disaster will weaken. The denizens of Golarion will be able to temporarily take shelter in adjacent planes. In the adjacent plane. Civilizations will not die. Our culture will continue to exist. We will not be forgotten. Baphomet, the cunning and insidious lord of Minotaurs, was once captured in Asmodeus's prison, but only 10 years passed before Baphomet was able to escape, taking his own prison with him, which later became the Ivory Labyrinth. Such an achievement deserves respect, and it is the goal of my research. Moving matter between planes is what interests me now. I stop near strange symbols covering the wall of the labyrinth. I run my hand over them to ensure they are real. Encrypted riddles drawn by Baphomet during his imprisonment. I take out the bark-covered notebook and painstakingly copy the symbols into it. Behind me, 2 Minotaurs are fighting, deceived by the net of spells I have wrapped around myself like a blanket. You want to connect the planes? That's dangerous. The elf is silent for a moment. When he talks, there is disdain in his voice. Dangerous, difficult, almost impossible. But tell me, is it not worth the risk? But tell me, is this risk not worth the Thassalonian Empire perishing before my eyes? Does Golgan, the Cyclops kingdom, deserve death? What about the Aboleth Empire? The storyteller moves his lips silently. Another plane will pay for saving Golarion. There will be wars, and then a new world will come. But we will survive. We will defeat Earthfall, and the history will not condemn the victors. I mean, the Cyclops Empire and the Aboleth Empire are utterly evil empires. I mean, Thessalonian Empire is an evil empire, perverted from the original good empire that it was. After the first after the first king died, and then his advisors took over, representing the 7 virtues, and eventually got perverted into the 7 deadly sins, basically. Very interesting story. Not all of it's not all of it is actually down on paper, though, because it's an unknown period, right? There's no actual stories from that period, though. I would love to see Paizo come back and revitalize some of that stuff and make new first edition campaigns that are like throwbacks. They won't, because they made second edition Pathfinder, which I think is garbage. But personal opinion, I'm a old school. I've been playing tabletop for 20 plus years, and I'm not a big fan of the newer systems where your characters are on railroads, basically. So 5th edition D&D, 4th edition D&D, 2nd edition Pathfinder. You choose a class and you have like a couple of routes you can go, even if, you know, there's quote unquote a ton of options. Pathfinder 2nd edition, they're like 30,000 different combinations, and they're all pointless. Like, most decisions don't mean shit. Like, they mean fuck all. You can't make a bad character, so you can't really have a wasteful character, but you also don't really make overpowered characters either. So you don't really feel like a powerful hero at times, because everything's at the same kind of power level. I get it, but they tried to make a simplified game towards 5th edition, tap into that market, but they made everything a feat and made it way more complicated than it needed to be if you were going to go for the 5th edition market, in my opinion. But again, that's my opinion. So the elf is silent for a moment. Oh, I already read this one. A bark-covered notebook, the one your mentor gave you. The storyteller lowers his head, but a moment later jerks it back up. Yes. Blinded by my pride, I tore it to pieces when I thought I would not follow my kinfolk. I'm still not going to run, but the knowledge written in this notebook by my former mentor might serve my purpose. I mean, it is about traveling to different planes and stuff, so that is useful knowledge. The elves managed to open a portal to Sovereign and keep it open until all our people escaped from Galarian. Their cowardice deserves disdain, but their knowledge is unquestionable. I returned to Kyonin and gathered the pieces of my torn notebook. Now it is my sword aimed at the heart of Earthfall. By combining the wisdom of the elves and the cunning of Baphomet, I will save the world. What happened next? I copied the strange symbols into the notebook. I haven't the slightest idea what these scribbles mean. What was the future demon lord thinking when he wrote them, while he was imprisoned in a cell with no way out? Was he still in his right mind? I will need help to understand these notes. Otherwise, decrypting them might take more time than Pharasma has given me. One of the minotaurs behind me kills the other one, tore his heart out, and devoured it. His bloodstained nose sniffs the air sharply. His bloodshot eyes shift from wall to wall. He senses a stranger, but he doesn't scare me. I am certain of my powers, and the spells hiding me. I've done my work, and can now leave this place. And I still linger. What is this strange presence I feel behind me? Like someone is watching me, despite all the protective spells. Who are you? I ask carefully, not hoping for an answer. Darkness, a coy female voice whispers in my ear. Against my will, I shudder. The storyteller stops talking for a long while. The vision ended at the most interesting moment, didn't it? He says bitterly at last. Please, find the rest of the pages from the bark-covered book. I must know what happened next. Thank you for your stories. I found a page that might interest you. Page that might interest you. Page that might interest you. The storyteller clenches the pages you brought. His voice becomes a bit younger and more energetic. It's been 2 years since I started to serve the darkness. She found me in the Ivory Labyrinth, her gaze piercing through all my protective spells, as if they had been cast by an untrained apprentice rather than the last archmage of Kyonin. She is powerful and insidious. She is the perfect assassin. Her name is Nocticula. Most awesome demon lord that there ever was. Super interesting character. She invited me to Alashunira, the city of demons in the depths of the abyss, the capital of the Midnight Isles. The Lady in Shadow highly values my ability to remain unnoticed. Kneeling before her throne, I listened to her praise and felt like a child being given a pat on the head for doing some simple chore for the first time. But this is no longer important. Now I serve a demon lord. For this, our agreement. No. But this is no longer important. Now I serve a demon lord. For this is our agreement. She will help me decrypt the scribbles I copied in the Abbey Labyrinth. In return, I will serve as her court mage and spy for the next 17 years. Now, Alashunira is my home, and Nautikia is my lady in shadow. Tell me about your life in Alashunira. Of all the places in the abyss, Alashunira is the most civilized. My lady wants to make her capital the face of the abyss, a place where travelers from other planes can visit without too much fear. I don't care. I am here only to complete my service, get the promised reward, and return to Golarion. However, strange as it may be, Alashunira's demons treat me honorably. They hate me, sometimes growl at me, but they never attack. I prepare many spells, and I'm ready to use them at any moment, but I've had no reason to yet. I have my own tower in the upper city, not far from the lady's palace. I've strengthened it with protective spells, and set golems to guard it. I created a portal to Golarion at the top of the tower, one which only I can use. It will be my escape route if I need to flee urgently. I expect an attack every day, but it never happens. This might sound ridiculous and surprising, but I think the demons of Alashunira respect me. You trusted a demon lord? My lady in shadow has no reason to hide the truth from me. She does not care about my research. She offered me help out of curiosity. I am something of a bizarre pet for her, both funny and useful. The storyteller shakes his head. She offered me help and I agreed, but I must thank my lady for her generosity. 17 years of service for 17 phrases from Baphomet's Labyrinth. A bargain. Please continue. The storyteller stays silent for a short while, as if listening to something. I can't smell anything but sewage. I hear some demon snores or death rattles. Hidden by a cocoon of spells, I keep invisible watch, and a shriek rolls like a tide through the streets, but it can't hurt me. I know the ways of the city and have protected myself from Valexia's wild antics. My voluntary partner, a young half-elf named Kinney, sighs loudly and says, yet again, they are not coming. I shrug, just as I have done every time before. I'm not keeping you. Kinney frowns and turns away in response. I sneak a look at my friend. His unruly locks fall over his face. Kinney carelessly sweeps them out of his eyes, thinking about something. I find myself enjoying his gentle movements and look away, embarrassed. Have a little more patience, my friend. Soon our goal will be here, I'm sure of it. You mentioned Valexia. Tell me about her. The storyteller answers with reluctant admiration. The maddest succubus of all those born in the abyss. Even my lady in shadow can't but smile upon hearing of the latest mayhem she stirred up for fun. Surrounded by her 3 succubi friends, known as the Sinners, she flies naked over the city, crushing buildings with her raging screams, grabbing poor passerbys, taking them up in the air, and dashing them down onto the rocks, getting into raging fights with no rhyme or reason. Truly, Valexia is the bane of Alashunira, but also its wild heart. I didn't expect to find out you had a partner. Storyteller's face lights up. A timid smile appears on his lips. I didn't expect it either. Kinney is from Golarion, just as I am. He is a thief and a former slave. He escaped from the Cyclops of the dying empire. I met him before I left Golarion for the Abyss, in my old tower. A thief who sought not my life, but a shelter, a place to spend the night, and protection from his former masters. My charms worked. Kinney couldn't get past the ground floor of the tower. That's where I found him, sitting on the floor, entangled by my trap's living vines. I freed the hapless thief. I wasn't angry at his intrusion. I was even glad to talk with this restless youth of the short-lived folk. I had no idea how much I had missed companionship. After that, Kinney often spent the night in my tower, partaking of my hospitality. Together we lived through the terror of Earthfall, and when the time came, I took him with me to the Abyss. Recently, he's even helped me carry out some of my lady's tasks. those that give him the opportunity to make some money. Does your partner know about your goal to save Galarian? Oh yes, we discussed my plans many times. Sitting at the top of the tower, nursing goblets of warm wine, Kenny shares my love for our dear Galarian and supports my desire to save its doomed civilizations. The storyteller smiles warmly at the rush of memories. My friend is not like me at all. He is young, hot-tempered, and mischievous. He prefers to act first and deal with the consequences later. Perhaps this is why we get along so well. Opposites attract. Please continue. Finally, my patience is rewarded. I see a slouching demon in rags, so pathetic that even the demon guards of Al Shunera would not lay a hand on him out of disgust. But my spell enhanced vision can't be fooled. I see the incubus Zephorian, the ruler of Al Shunera, who answers only to the Lady in Shadow herself. Passing a step away from me, Zephorian stumbles and falls into a puddle of sewage, rousing disdainful chuckles from the few witnesses, but I won't be fooled by this game. I instead concentrate, becoming even more focused. My lord, I've discovered this crystal of unknown power on one of the Midnight Isles. Have a look. A hand holding a heart-sized crystal burning with purple flame emerges from under the rags. The incubus's hand is shaking. The skin on his palm is slightly smoldering from touching the crystal. The demon's reflection in the puddle of sewage ripples and changes. I don't hear Zephorian talking to his mysterious lord. The incubus hides the purple crystal back under his rags. As you wish, my lord. No, Nauticula knows nothing about these crystals. I am sure. Of course, Lord Sokyo-Banath. I wince. I have no desire to stand in the way of a demon lord. I turn around. You see, Kenny, we were able to get the evidence of Zephorian's treason. I was right. But my friend is not to be seen. Who is Sokyo-Banath? The storyteller cringes. A disgusting demon lord. Champion of meanness, debauchery, perversions, and breaker of taboos. He is Nauticula's brother and former lover. Out of jealousy, he tried in vain to kill my lady, but he remained alive after the attempt. He is driven by fear, shame, and hatred toward his powerful sister. Please continue. I am standing on top of my tower. There is a goblet of warm wine in my hand. Nauticula was pleased with my raid. Oh no. She won't kill Zephorian on the spot. My lady's punishments are much more sophisticated. Banishing, demotion, even transformation into the pathetic creature the incubus was masquerading as. Nauticula has a lot of choices. I don't care. I've done my part. I sip from my goblet and turn to my friend. Without saying a word, Kenny takes a rag from under his shirt and shows me the purple crystal wrapped in it. I chuckle. That's where my friend went at the end of the raid. Well, we are going to keep the crystal. I will study its properties in detail and find out if it will help us achieve our goal. Nauticula doesn't have to know that I have the crystal now. Let her look to the Zephorian or her demon lord brother for it. I drink from the goblet again and look down. Alashunera lies at the bottom of the tower, like a faithful dog at the feet of its master. I earned respect here. Even the Lady in Shadow heeds my words. I feel a treacherous smile appear on my lips. Of course, when 17 years have passed, I will return to Galarian. But for now, I like my life here. The storyteller is quiet for a long while, thinking about what he saw. Then he runs his hands over his face, tired. I served a demon lord, and what's more, I liked it. I did not expect this from myself. I was completely different. Different thoughts, desires, motives. What made me change so much? I don't know. The storyteller shakes his head ruefully. Thank you for your stories. Don't have any more pages. Okay, so let's check out what we got. The Covenant of the Inheritor. The symbol of Amade placed on the belt admits a holy aura. All party members in a 30-foot aura get a +2 bonus on caster level checks to overcome spell resistance. Very nice. Their weapons become good aligned and count as if they were made of cold iron. That's ridiculous. And then, what is this? Ring of Summoning. This ring grants the wearer the ability to summon either Axiomites or Soul Eaters, randomly selected once per day, as if they were summoned by a summoned monster's 8 spell. Caster level 15, DC 22. All allies, including the wearer within 30 feet, gain +2 bonus to weapon damage rolls and saving throws against attacks made effects by chaotic creatures. So, demons, basically. Awesome. You need a second ring. So there you go. Because you were in melee. Nice, very nice. And oh, it's automatically turned on. Sweet. And just like that, the episode for today is over. The narrator's a little tired. You gotta give him some props for, going at it. But thank you for hanging out and watching Pathfinders Wrath of the Righteous. Hopefully you guys had fun. So if you did, do the thing. Like, comment, subscribe, share it. The link for the previous episodes and next episodes should be in the descriptions, unless they are not out yet. If you want them early, you could always beg for them in the comments, maybe. Tell me your favorite part of each episode. Let me know you guys are enjoying it. And with that, I will let you guys get back to your day, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for hanging out.